We've been talking about Nepal here on this channel, and a lot has happened since I last posted a video about Nepal. So we're going to be catching up in today's video. Link to the original video down in the description below. If you like the commentary and discussions we do here on this channel, consider subscribing. I also have a playlist of my other Nepal videos in the description. Buckle up, let's get into it. I also, I was just reading the title of the Gen Z revolution. I think that's accurate, but one of the things that I was realizing in my last video and some of you were pointing out was it's it was started by Gen Z, but everyone's on board. It seems like it's not like just the young people. There's, various different ages, and even when watching the videos, um we see this different ages. People were bringing even their kids around just to witness this stuff. So I do wish that maybe there was a little bit more clear. um like, I like the title, I think it's fine, but I think there's needs to be a little bit more emphasis on that it's not just Gen Z, but all the older generations as well that supported this movement. But also, another thing that's really frustrating me that's still being reported inaccurately in the West is that they keep calling this, the reason why they're saying that this happened was because of social media. That's crazy. I hate that they keep doing this in the West. I hope they can fix that. And it's not even that they can't know, like it's just laziness. I think why they're doing that. They just don't want to do that extra layer of research. They're just trying to get stuff out really fast and just completely butchering the reporting. But I that hopefully this video will help maybe inspire some Western medias to correct their reporting, but we'll see. I didn't see this. We saw the other side of the Hilton, but we never saw the backside. This is insane. That's crazy. That's also extremely dangerous. You got to demolish that as soon as you can. That is extremely dangerous. Oh my gosh. God, I hope people are okay around there.
The suspense is over. Nepal's Gen Z have chosen. The country has a new interim prime minister. It is this woman, Sushila Karki. She is 73 years old. She began her legal career in 1979. In 2007, she became a senior advocate. And in 2016, she became Nepal's first woman chief justice. During her tenure, she was synonymous with anti-corruption rulings. So her appeal is obvious. Nepal's young generation has only known corruption as a fact of life. It's clear why they chose Karki. In the past, she has said no to the political rot. And here's where the story becomes uniquely Gen Z. Karki was chosen not in government halls. Her name was floated on Discord. It's a US gaming platform. But in Nepal, it has...
That I'm shaking my head because it's crazy. Like how I've lived long enough to see Discord become a thing, but then young enough to see governments being formed or started slightly or like a portion of it on Discord. That's crazy. That's insane. That's like, what a time to be alive. That technology that we thought was never really going to be understood is finally being understood by Gen Z. This is why I think like Gen Z, unironically, is probably going to be one of the smartest generations. I think we kind of Gen Z is starting to figure it out. I think there's going to still be some growing periods when it comes to technology and really understanding the risks. Because I think you guys are so comfortable with it, you've accepted the risks, but it can also backfire. So, but I do think that you guys are going to be the ones to really understand technology to a level that no one else has. So it's really exciting to see how you guys are using a platform that can be efficient, if it's handled correctly.
become a protest command center. The platform has communities which are called servers. And one server is called Youth Against Corruption. It has more than 130,000 members. In this, there are sub-communities or channels. They're performing different tasks for ground updates, fact checks, emergency helplines, and even memes. So updates are decentralized and fast.
What? Whoever's recording this footage, you can see they're in the Battlefield 6 Discord. That's so random. But 10,000 people in one call. That's insane.
In fact, reports suggest that they were voting for who to choose as interim prime minister on Discord, on the same platform. And Karki quickly became the front runner. She had more than 7,700 votes. Now, this is a radical shift in how politics is done. Yet it's also messy because anyone can join, anyone can vote. There is no process here. By the way, Karki also has an Indian connection. She studied at the Banaras Hindu University in India's Varanasi.
Two things. So first, I want to go back to the idea of anyone can vote. That is very dangerous because that means like someone like me could just join and then vote. But again, I haven't been in the server, so I don't know how the procedures are. But I want to do say this. America right now is dealing with an issue of radical, violent, leftists, like pro-communist people in America, and they're being radicalized through Discord and committing acts, real acts of terrorism and violence. So that I do warn against this unregulated Discord usage. Not that you guys can't handle it, but we in America are starting to see that it can become horrible, right? And so I do think that, like, as you develop your country and and start restoring, equity and justice, like, don't be fooled by the people that say the same things because the radical left was essentially saying peace, unity, everyone's accepted, blah 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 blah, and then they became violent because they now have power. So be very, 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 very careful with that.
Because anyone can join.
Oh, and because the reason why they became violent is what they'll do is what's called eating their own. It's an Ouroboros. Do you know what that is? Where the snake that eats itself. They create this thing what's called a purity test. Like if you don't agree with every single one of our things, then you must be evil. You're the worst thing to ever exist. And so they keep narrowing their views of the world so much that as soon as you step out of line, you're an enemy, no matter what. There's no nuance. There's no gray area. It's either this or you're an enemy. And you got to be careful with that. In these spaces in Discord, that's where they start. So um good luck to you guys. I think you guys can do it, but just be very careful with Discord as a platform.
Join, anyone can vote. There is no process here. By the way, Karki also has an Indian connection. She studied at the Banaras Hindu University in India's Varanasi.
What's the context? And this is the second thing I need to ask. What's the context of why she's mentioning India? We haven't had a chance on this channel to cover Nepal before this stuff has started happening and being reported on. Because typically I like to cover the cultures, the history, the food, the people, learn about, because I hope to be someday a tourist. I'm not like a, it's funny, you guys are making me a journalist, it feels like, but I'm not. I'm just a commentator. But also mostly a tourist that wants to visit these countries, eat the food, meet the people, like just be a good guest, right? That being said, we haven't had a chance to talk about Nepal. So, what is the context here? Why does she have to disclose that? Because that just seems really random. Is it because, not random, but as an outsider looking in, is it because of like the relationship between India and China historically not being so friendly? So it's like a disclosure, maybe like, clarifying where they stand. But I don't know. I just think I guess it technically doesn't really matter because Nepal should be their own person, own group of people, their own country. But it's just like, what's going on? That's why I'm so confused. So, if someone can clarify why that's significant enough for her to mention.
She has spoken warmly about India. She says that she is impressed by Indian leaders, including Prime Minister Modi, and that's a good sign for New Delhi. She took oath as the interim prime minister today. The parliament has been dissolved. A small cabinet is in place, but their names remain secret. So
Yeah, I think that's good, but be careful with too much secrecy because that can actually unironically lead to more corruption.
Basically, Nepal is moving forward after the chaos we saw this week. The interim government will navigate the country through this change. It will be responsible for holding fresh elections. And all of this sounds pretty straightforward on paper. But remember, Sushila Karki is 73 years old. She has never led a government. And leading Nepal today means managing more than corruption. There's an uneasy calm on the streets. Shops are shuttered. Soldiers are present at checkpoints. The parliament is a blackened ruin. And the economy has lost billions.
Yeah, hmm, it's tricky. Okay, so as an outsider looking in, I'm under the belief I think it's important to have hope, and there's really no case against anti-corruption. I think you can always do more because one of the things about corruption is regardless of ideology, corruption can always exist, right? So like even if you're like a democracy like the US, corruption still exists. Even when you have dictatorships like China, Russia, um, Venezuela, there's still corruption. So corruption is like a fundamental evil that regardless of ideology, you can still address. The only issue here now is because from my opinion, it's so open ended that whatever comes into play, again, I don't know the movement and I don't know the historical context. Again, like we're gonna be trying to learn about it more, and maybe you can let me know in the comments. Because again, I ask a lot of questions, not because I just don't know. Like I really don't know, and I want to know. That's part of my videos and why a lot of people stick around is because I love reading what you guys have to say. Because at the end of the day, I'm not there. I don't live there, so I don't know what the feeling is. I don't know what you guys really think. And also, I want to open up a conversation for you guys to talk to each other, but also talk to me, right? Talk to the rest of the world. So if someone else from a different country sees this video and they see how you guys are talking and they want to engage with you, they can. It's just this is a forum for conversation, right? And so I say all this to say you created a vacuum, even though you changed, but you got to be careful with creating a vacuum of ideas because the wrong ideas can always amplify corruption that you thought you got rid of. So it's very, very careful. But I think you guys can do it. I'm a very positive person overall. Um, like if you meet me in real life, that's how I am. I'm very much like, especially for young people. I know you guys are achieve great things. There's a lot of potential here still. So don't want to be a doomer, but you guys have so much potential and I'm excited for that.
The protests have cost Nepal's hotel industry more than 25 billion Indian rupees, that's 300 million US dollars.
$300 million, that is a lot, but at the same time, it's in the hotel industry is really not that much. I honestly think they would, yeah, you can make that back. So like if you need to reinvest that somehow, get that money reinvested back into your economy somehow, you could do it pretty easy without sacrificing too much. So like it would be different if you were like a business owner and then you lost $300 million. Yeah, it's hard for you to make that money back when you have nothing else to make it back with. But you're a government, you have more freedom to do so, right? The only thing is you got to be careful how you do it, right? Like if you go to the West and try to you could, or not even go to the West, you don't even have to go anywhere. You could just sell, like, for example, more natural resources. You can, develop a technology and then sell it, or, you know, open a university and have people study there and pay to study there. Like there's so many different things you can do as a government to bring that money in. The only thing you got to be careful with is if you're trying to substitute that money really, really fast, you got to be careful with these like sketchy like Chinese loans. Just to be transparent, because we're seeing that in Africa, where like China's giving out these like loans that they know the country can't pay. So then um when it comes time to pay up, they'll be like, "Oh, okay, well, we knew you were going to pay, so at least give us a piece of your land." And they're called land grabs, and they've been doing this all over Africa right now. And it's kind of ironic because the Chinese government are doing that, but we have a smaller version of that in the U.S., which is called like was it payday loans, right? Where these like businesses will give you money and then they know you can't pay it, so then they'll seize like your car or something. But um, yeah, it's like you can get that money back if you use your country's abilities rather than trying to take loans in exchange for land. Now, you could also get like investments from the West. There's a lot of businesses and strong industries in the West, but the thing is, it's like that could be good, but it's easier said than done. One of the things that a lot of you pointed out, not like from other countries pointed out, that like even if you wanted like for example, American investment from American businesses, you could have everything perfect, but getting Americans to be interested is really hard. And I didn't know that, right? It's like, oh, well, we want you to build a tech hub here and like, open up a tech center or like an office like Microsoft or something. And it's like, well, how do you get Microsoft interested? It's actually hard to do that. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense, right? Like there is no simple solution, but you have more ability to navigate the situation, right?
The Hilton Hotel in Kathmandu lost over 8 billion Indian rupees, that's 96 million US dollars. Thousands
Again, like 96 million is a lot for an independent business, but if you're a government, you should be able to make that back pretty relatively easily.
of jobs are gone
Well, relative, right? Easier. It's much easier, is what I mean.
overnight. And beyond the numbers, there is fear. More than 12,000 prisoners escaped during the chaos. Families are staying locked
12,000 prisoners. Oh my gosh.
inside their homes, so Karki will face a lot of challenges. Number one is restoring order. Nepal's army is currently on the streets. Curfews are in place. Trust in the police is at rock bottom.
But it's only what? It's only been okay. So the thing is, it's like I understand this, and kind of what she's making it seem is like high tensions. Which again, let me know in the comments. Is there high tensions right now? Because I feel like it's gonna, as a like somebody who lives on that doesn't live there, it's gonna be hard for me to actually know that. So let me know in the comments. I usually have one question that I always for sure need the answer to, and this is definitely that. So I'm asking you guys: is there really had that high tensions because of these things? But I also gonna say, even if there is, it kind of makes sense. You just had a change in government. Like you just had riots. Like, of course, people are gonna be tense. Like, it actually kind of seems normal. Like that we're all humans, right? So, not that it's like it's not what I'm trying to say. It's not necessarily bad. It's just that people care. So, of course, they're gonna feel a little tension because a lot just happened in a short amount of time. So, like, what do you got? You know what I mean? Like, it's not surprising. Like, it shouldn't be that shocking. And so that's why, like, restoration takes time. It's always been a thing, regardless of where you are. Restoring justice and equality um, takes time. So, of course, people are gonna feel like this.
So the first order of business is to restore normalcy, to get
Yes,
things back to normal ASAP.
but that's the problem, though. Isn't that y'all did all this because the normal wasn't right? So even trying to get back to normal is not what you're looking for. You're looking for a better quality of life.
Two, economic recovery. Tourism is a lifeline for Nepal's economy that is currently bleeding. Bookings are being cancelled. Tourists are avoiding the Himalayan nation. Foreign investors are rattled. There is a need to assure the world that things are peaceful again.
I see what you're saying, and I think that's true. But you still have like very violent countries that still have tourism, and the examples I give is like, for example, countries that have like cartels or narco governments. Some of them still have of tourism. So I do see that. I think it's just because everything's so fresh right now. Everything is so recent. Give it like a week or two. I think you can really start making huge strides towards fixing that. Um, I don't know, but like me as a tourist, yeah, I wouldn't feel safe traveling because it's like, well, we don't know what the new government's going to be. As a tourist, you don't know, so it's tricky.
Three, youth expectations. Nepal's Gen Z does not want another placeholder. They want transformation and they want it fast. Delivering on that will be crucial. And last, the political vacuum. Nepal's traditional parties are discredited. The parliament has been torched. Some ministers have fled the country. Can any interim prime minister actually govern without a functioning legislature? That's the big question. Nepal has seen 15 governments in 17 years.
What? Sorry, I was not trying to. You've had 15 governments in 17 years? If I had 15 governments in 17 years, I would be frustrated too. Yeah, I can, everything makes sense. Yeah, I didn't know this. Oh my God. Yeah. And people and the news. So wait a minute. So reporters know that you guys, if this is accurate, know that you've had 15 governments in 17 years, but yet still keep reporting it as if it's because of social media ban. That's crazy, by the way. That's insane. But no, yeah, that breeds frustration. But I think it also, again, I'm very hopeful. I think you guys can do this. Like, I think you guys have something. If you really believe that you're doing something right, truth will find you. Um, and I think you guys can do this.
So Karki has a task cut out. How she navigates the situation will decide Nepal's future. Meanwhile, can Nepal's Gen Z hold their nerve as the rebuilding begins?
And honestly though, and kind of to my earlier point that I was talking about, like even if someone wanted US investment and Americans to even care about what's going on and like really get involved with like restoring a country, it's really hard to, like, even though it's hard, I think Gen Z, you guys are probably by far the most qualified to talk to Americans. Does that sound weird? Maybe it is, because Gen Z, I feel like in America is very similar and can relate really more to Gen Z of other countries because y'all all grew up so connected on the internet. Whereas like older generations are so disconnected from the internet, it's really hard to understand people from another country. And so if there's anyone that's able to bridge a gap and even go out and get help to help restore your country, I think Gen Z can do it. Of course, it's a lot to ask, right? To for someone so young to carry and really push that. But if you're really committed long term, I think you can do that. So, it's really interesting. I think but then again, it's like, are you just, how quickly do you want things done? So you got to be careful.
Because revolutions are noisy and dramatic,
They
but
are.
governing can be painfully slow and quiet.
It is.
First post now available in 9 languages on YouTube. English.
Oh, is this just an ad for what's going on? Okay. Well, let me know what you think. I try to come in this as a super, I'm always, again, I'm not a reporter, nor am I a journalist, but I'm trying to come in and see the human side of things. And as much as this kind of poses a lot of big questions, I think you guys understood that that was kind of the risk, right, of doing what you did. But also, it makes a lot of sense from a human side why anyone would feel anyway. If you've had 15 governments in 17 years, like that is literally, this is actually a normal response to have. But I'm very hopeful you guys can do it, and you know, change against corruption is never a bad thing in my opinion. Anyway, love you guys. Be safe out there. I'll check you on the next one. Bye-bye. This video is brought to you actually by viewers like you. Thank you so much for subscribing and being part of my journey and allowing me to be a part of yours. Let's create new memories this 2025 on our road to 1 million subscribers. And with all that jazz out of the way, I just want to say thank you so much. I love y'all and enjoy the video.